What's up, everyone? Marc Lobliner, TigerFitness.com, alongside
Nick Klugowitz, 360 Cut.
360 Cut, link down below. Awesome supplement brand we have on TigerFitness.com, including their pre-workout Rage, which is fucking awesome. Austin says, joint health and lifting. As a young lifter, how concerned should I be with joint pain years down the road? I strive very hard to practice perfect form, even that people to tell me is inevitable lifters will develop joint pain down the road. Can this be mitigated?
I like this question.
You go ahead, man. I'm going to take a nap.
I am a good person to talk about joint pain because I am way too young to have the body of a 53-year-old arthritic man. Biceps tearing off, lats, knees, everything. I've had so many freaking injuries, but I've lifted heavy and stupid for a long, long time. In my opinion, when you talk about joint health, longevity, things like that, you can lift hard, but lift smart. If you're not experiencing joint pain now, that's a good thing. But doing volume with moderate weight is what's going to help keep the joints lubricated. It's what's going to help.
I like lube.
And we've used a lot. We're pretty much out.
I'm out of lube. I just keep on the stick.
Seriously. But the thing is, you got to train smart. If you start to notice some pain, don't train through it. Don't keep pushing harder. Don't add more weight. Back off. Find what feels good for your body. And you got to find, if your goal is, say, muscle building, you obviously have to lift a decent amount of weight, but do it controlled. Focus on time under tension. Focus on other things than just continuously adding weight, shortening your range of motion and things like that are just going to constantly beat you up over time.
But as you get stronger over time, I will say that it is kind of inevitable. You could take things like we have machine motion. You could take fish oil, which is great for it. You can eat anti-inflammatory foods, and that's great, and it will help mitigate, as he says. And also, if you're looking at overall joint health, I recommend, if you look at the pillar prep and everything video that I've done, I recommend plyometric type movements to strengthen the areas. For example, that will strengthen your ankles and your knees. And doing things like that, or doing things like, they call them inchworms, walking out, that puts, that obviously strengthens those muscles. However, if you're lifting weight and you get stronger and bigger and you're up to lifting like 315 on bench press, you're inevitably putting a lot of pressure on your elbows. So you're not going to be pain-free. People email me all the time, what do I do about tendonitis? And I'm like, just stop being a fucking pussy. It's really part of the game. You know what I mean? I know that it's not a game, but in this part, it's a fucking game because it's a game of pain. And I have joint pain. It's not as bad as it used to be. Again, there's ways to mitigate that too. On squats, I like wearing knee sleeves. I feel they do help keep them warm and lessen the friction. As someone who's had knee surgery based on football injuries,
friction causes a lot of problems.
Oh yeah, absolutely, especially with anal. And then you have your elbows. I wear elbow cuffs or elbow sleeves. Again, it's just about warmth. Proper warm-up is tantamount to everything. As he knows from the last 2 days, I spent about 30 minutes with pillar prep and with warming up, and then I'm sure to just get everything worked out before training. So I think that you can mitigate it, but as you get older, the chances of you sticking with training are extremely low, and I'm just being real with you. Like, people like me who've been doing this for over 20 years are very rare. So even if you stick to it I think you'd have to stick to it for over 10 years, but what I'm giving you here is that you need his advice, training smarter, going for time under tension, going for reps. That's great, but when your time under tension is adhered to and you keep getting stronger anyway, and you're still doing 315 over 135, I think it's inevitable you have some pain. The key is to minimize it.
Yeah, I would also mention, Mark mentioned, pillar prep, movement warm-ups, things like that. That's not necessarily talking about static stretching. It's movement-specific work. We're warm up the joints and the knee sleeves, the elbow sleeves, things like that. We're not talking about wraps. There's a huge difference. But the sleeves will make a big difference in keeping the joints warm, especially between sets. Help keep them lubricated, blood flow.
Yeah, wraps are just worn for heavy sets, and I really think they're too annoying for me to wear because it just takes too long to put them on and take them off. So I'm a big fan of the sleeves. Yeah, no, I don't wear those. Condoms are for quitters. But what I prefer is I like the strong sleeves we sell at TigerFitness.com. Just for sizing purposes, I have huge quads. I wear a large, so unless you're a 250-pound bodybuilder with very nice quads, you're probably wearing a medium.
I wear small.
Juan Morel wears a double X. He has one of the largest legs I've ever seen. So I mean, I think that that you probably, if you're a large, if you're anywhere between up to 220, you're probably a large. Anything below 170, you're probably a medium. Just guessing because there's a sizing chart, but I'm just going bro here. Unless you're a physique athlete, then just get a small.
Or just
don't.
You probably don't need them because you're definitely not lifting heavy enough.
Well, he wants to wear them for his leg extensions. They do once a week. But anyway, guys, that's it. Joint pain is inevitable. And I'm going to leave you with a story I've told on this channel before for you new people here. When I was 21 years old, I was at an Olympia booth with Peter McGuff, who's the man who discovered Dorian Yates. He's also been editorial director for Flex for years when I was there. And this guy came up to us. We had a bigger Get Big program in Flex. And the guy came up to me and Peter. He said, hey, you know, I've been doing tricep skull crushers. It's been hurting my elbows. So I spent a good 5 minutes talking to him about alternative exercises to build his triceps. Finally, Peter had enough, and Peter's not in shape by any means. Peter's a pretty obese man. And Peter, in his British accent, says, look, he says, this isn't fucking ping pong. If you don't like the pain, find a new fucking sport. Not sure if I agree with him. Just a little adage from a British guy who found fucking Dorian Yates.
I would say with that accent, you've got to pretty much take everything as
With that accent, you just get a lot of pussy.
And anal.
Really? The British like anal? They have to because of the teeth. They can't do oral. That shit will cut your dick right out. So I'm in the UK. Like, this is when I owned my old company. It was like 2010, and there was this hot girl. You know, I'm like, hey,
This must be a bad teeth story.
I'm like, damn. How you doing? Hi. I'm like, ah. So I fucked her in the ass. Anyway, guys, that's not a game.